Chapter 11, Golden Elixir Kills Nascent Soul. You are listening at Audio. Qin Buyi found a random restaurant to stay in Tianhuang city. The past 2 days have also consumed a lot of money on him. After washing up, eating something, he went to bed and fell asleep. When he opened his eyes again, it was getting dark outside. Qin Buyi sat on the bed and thought about the war mission and the main mission. Currently, only Tang Jintian and the second son of the Tang family are still alive in the Tang family. If they are killed, the Tang family will no longer have a pillar of support and will soon be cannibalized by other forces. The fixed star compass should be on Tang Jintian. With my current cultivation level, I have no opponent in the Golden Core realm, but I am still unknown in the Nascent Soul realm. How to lure the second elder away from the Tang family and kill him? That just when Qin Buyi was scratching his head, there was a knock on the door. Opening the door, there was a restaurant waiter standing outside. This is a letter from someone. The waiter handed over a letter. Who will write to me? Qin Buyi thought in confusion. After closing the door and returning to the room, he opened the letter. After seeing the content of the letter, Qin Buyi's eyes lit up. The letter stated that the second elder was invited to the city lord's mansion tonight for a banquet. The person signing the letter was Huang San. Qin Buyi has always had speculations about Huang San's identity. If the guess is correct, this should be a big man who is difficult to get in touch with. City Lord's mansion. City Lord Tianhuang smiled bitterly and said to Huang San beside him, "Young master, why is this necessary? If the second elder of the Tang family dies again, that old man Tang Jintian will go crazy." Huang San said with a smile on his lips, "It's just a branch of the Tang family. If it really causes any big trouble, I won't bear it." The power of the Tang family in the imperial capital has shifted towards the elder brother. This can be regarded as indirectly weakening the power of the elder brother. After a pause, Huang San said seriously, "Whether it is a dragon or a snake, you have to survive the disaster to know. Dead talents are not called talents. What I need are talents who are alive and can be used by me." Midnight, Qin Buyi hid in the city lord's palace and was the only way back to the Tang family. Hiccup. Let me tell you, even the head of the family was not invited to the banquet, but I was invited. Do you know what this means? This means that the city lord's mansion supports me. With the city lord's support, I will definitely become the head of the Tang family in a few years. The second elder was burping from wine, immersed in fantasies about the future, and spoke to his cronies beside him. Qin Buyi walked out of the darkness, his bright killing blade revealing murderous intent under the moonlight. Who is it? Dare to block my way? That the second elder looked ahead drowsily. When he saw Qin Buyi's figure clearly, the drunkenness dissipated and he suddenly woke up. It's you. The second elder shouted in surprise. Qin Buyi answered, "It's me, are you ready to die?" What? The second elder screamed, turned around and ran away. The killing sword technique Ziju, the killing blade formed a waning moon and enveloped the two elders. Hey! Hey! Laugh! After the attack, everyone including the second elder died. Ding! For killing Tang Eryi, one of the important figures of the Tang family, the reward of 5 attribute points has been distributed. Add attribute points and open the information panel. Name, Qin Buyi, cultivation level, second level, late stage of golden elixir, 49/50ths, power, 49. Speed, 49. Stamina, 49. Attack, 49. Defense, 49. Luck, 49. Killing blade level 49, 50/dash, attack, 49. Killing sword technique level 49, 50/dash, attack, 49. There are still a few attributes left to reach perfection in the Golden Core realm. At present, all tasks that can obtain attribute points cannot avoid Tang Jintian. Before, Qin Buyi was still thinking that although the war mission had some twists and turns, it was not extremely dangerous after all. Now it seems that the final mission of the war is to use the Golden Core realm to kill the Nascent Soul realm. Does the golden elixir kill Yuanying? Qin Buyi murmured. Inside the Tang family, Tang Jintian came to the second elder's residence and saw that the second elder was not there. He asked his subordinates, "Where is the second elder?" Master, the city lord's palace is hosting a banquet for the second elder tonight, and he has gone to the banquet, the subordinate replied. No, you idiot. Tang Jintian cursed, at the same time, outside the Tang family. Boom! Qin Buyi smashed the door of the Tang family with one kick and walked into the Tang family with the killing blade on his shoulder. Who? How dare you break into the Tang family? Take it down! The Tang family's guards surrounded Qin Buyi. The killing sword technique Ziju. After the waning moon passed, the bodies of the guards lay on the ground, with blood flowing from the bodies, inside the city lord's mansion. Lord City Lord, Qin Buyi has attacked the Tang family alone. A spy from the city lord's mansion hurriedly came to report. What? Tianhuang suspected that there was something wrong with his ears. Qin Buyi kicked down the Tang family's door and killed the Tang family. The spy said again. Does he want his life? Tang Jintian is in the Nascent Soul realm. He is crazy if he is just in the Golden Core realm and provokes the Nascent Soul realm. Tianhuang froze in place for a long time before he could say these words. After Huang San heard the news from one side, he showed a playful smile on his face and said, let's go and have a look. Based on my evaluation of him, he is not a brainless person. After that, Huang San and Tianhuang flew out of the window and headed to the Tang family's residence. Huang family. Huang Zong was also stunned for a while listening to his subordinate's report. After a long while, he still sat in disbelief. He was so overwhelmed by victory that he thought he would be invincible if he killed a few people in the Golden Core realm. He really overestimated his capabilities by challenging the Nascent Soul in the Golden Core realm. Wang Zhiro said from one side, Dad, let's go and see if it's okay. Wang Zong looked at Wang Zhiju with a doting look on his face and said, okay, since the apple of my eye has spoken, let's go and have a look. In Qinyang City, I don't know who spread the news that the Tang family was killed, the whole Qinyang City is boiling. You are a ruthless person, you dare to kill the Tang family alone. Stupid, no brains. According to legend, the head of the Tang family has already broken through to the Nascent Soul. The market is open, let's take a bet on how long he can survive in the Tang family. I bet 1,000 lower-grade spiritual stones for an hour. I bet 500 spiritual stones for half an hour. Humph, you think too highly of him. I'll bet 2,000 spirit stones for half a quarter of an hour. Similar sounds appeared in Qinyang City, and more people went to the Tang family. Let's take a look at who the real owner of the Tang family has been causing trouble recently and what he looks like, inside the Tang family. The killing sword technique Ziju. When Qin Buyi killed the second wave of guards, Tang Jintian arrived. Enemies were extremely jealous when they met. When Tang Jintian saw the murderer who killed his son and the top family members, his eyes seemed to want to eat Qin Buyi alive. Boy, I will skin you and remove your bones, hang your head on the door of my Tang family, and let outsiders see the consequences of provoking my Tang family. Tang Jintian gritted his teeth and said bitterly, the reason why Qin Buyi chose to come here tonight was because he had no choice but to do so. The mission was only within 3 months. Instead of hiding for 3 months and letting fear wear away your spirit, you might as well go all out and kill him. Someone once said so, it's the master of your Tang family. Qin Buyi said in a cold tone. Damn you! Tang Jintian roared angrily and launched an offensive very quickly. Tang Quan's tiger comes down the mountain. A fierce tiger formed in Tang Jintian's fist and pounced towards Qin Buyi. The killing sword technique slaughter. The killing blade vibrated at high speed and slashed towards Tang Jintian. Roar! Chan. The roar of tigers and the sound of swords sounded at the same time. Clang. The killing blade and the tiger collided fiercely, and the sound of the clash of golden swords could be heard. After the offensive dissipated and the first confrontation occurred, Qin Buyi took 3 steps back, but Tang Jintian did not move at all. Ha! You can withstand Nascent Soul's blow without incident. No wonder you can kill Lao San and the others. But you should never should provoke my Tang family. Tang Jintian roared. In the sky above the Tang family, the city lords Tianhuang, Huang San, Wang Zong, and Wang Zhiro watched everything happening underground. Wang Zong sighed, "It's a pity that a genius will die here today." The other three did not speak, and were all paying attention to the battle below. Tang fist, hungry tiger pounces on food. The killing sword technique, slaughter. Clang. Song. Roar. Zheng. Tang fist, black tiger takes out the heart. The killing sword technique, Ziju. Chang. Chang. Hu. Hu. The two sides fought equally, and the fight was back and forth. "Old guy, is this all you have?" Qin Buyi said. "Boy, I'm going to give you a chance to live now, what do you want?" Tang Jintian said. "What opportunity? Let's talk about it. Join my Tang family and you will be a servant for life. I will spare your life." As the head of the family, Tang Jintian should consider the interests of the family. If Qin Buyi can be allowed to join the Tang family, with his talent, he will most likely be able to break through to the Nascent Soul realm. By then, the Tang family will have 2 Nascent Souls, and becoming the overlord of Qinyang City will be just around the corner. Shameless, shameless. Wang Zong in heaven cursed in his heart when he heard this. Qin Buyi said with a mocking look on his face, "Are you dreaming? Today is the day you die." Chang. 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 The killing blade slashed at Tang Jintian crazily, and dense shadows of swords surrounded Tang Jintian. This was Qin Buyi's first full-scale offensive in the Luoxing Mountains. With the help of the system, all the body's values have reached the same level of peak, and it is very terrifying to have full firepower. For a time, Tang Jintian could only defend passively, and Qin Buyi gradually gained the upper hand. "Dad, look, Qin Buyi has the upper hand. If this continues, he may kill the head of the Tang family." Wang Zhiro exclaimed. "Alas, this is just an illusion. If you haven't broken through to the Nascent Soul, you will never know how big the gap is between the Nascent Soul realm and the Golden Core realm." Wang Zong sighed. Wang Zhiro pouted, turned to Huang San and said, "Third brother, does the Emperor have a genius who can kill the Nascent Soul realm and the Golden Core realm?" "Yes, but those who can do this are geniuses among geniuses. Can such a genius exist in Qinyang City?" Huang San murmured. Under Qin Buyi's fierce attack, Tang Jintian defended in a slightly embarrassed manner. "Behead!" Qin Buyi shouted. Laugh. After fighting for so long, Tang Jin's defense was broken for the first time. The killing blade left a wound 3 inches long and 1 finger deep on Tang Jintian's chest. Tang Jintian looked at the wounds on his body with shock in his eyes. He didn't believe that he would be injured by a Jindan realm, but the blood that continued to flow from the wound reminded him that this was a fact. Roar. Tang Jintian roared loudly, his eyes like a wild beast that chooses people to devour. "Little bastard, you pissed me off. Now go to hell." Tang fist, the white tiger holds the corpse. An eye-catching white tiger appeared out of thin air, opened its bloody mouth and bit Qin Buyi. Chapter 12 Nascent Soul dies. You are listening at novelfull.audio. White Tiger's attack was too fierce and fierce. In a hurry, Qin Buyi held the killing blade across his chest to defend himself. Boom! There was a loud noise, and Qin Buyi was directly knocked away by the huge force. Cough! All the internal organs seemed to be displaced, and bursts of burning sensation came from the body. As soon as Qin Buyi got up from the ground, Tang Jintian's attack was right in front of him. Tang fist, black tiger takes out the heart. Boom! The figure that had just stood up was instantly knocked back. Tang Quan, tiger comes down the mountain. Boom! He stood up again and again, and was knocked away again and again, and the cycle repeated dozens of times. After being injured, Tang Jintian was like a furious lion, his combat power soaring. Severe pain came from everywhere on the body, and the whole body felt like it was about to fall apart. Is this the true strength of the Nascent Soul realm? So strong. Qin Buyi thought to himself, waves of dizziness came through my head, and I forced myself to cheer up. His vision has gradually become blurred, and blood is flowing out from all over his body as if it is free of money. The situation is not good now, you will die if you continue like this. There must be other ways to break the situation. Move your body. You can't be passive anymore. Kill this person in front of me. As long as I kill him, I can live. Kill. That the four people in the sky looked at Qin Buyi, who was beaten like a rag sandbag on the ground and had no power to resist. Wang Zong said with a slightly unbearable expression, "Alas! What a pity! If he could not be so impatient and not be dazzled by victory, he would definitely be able to break through to Nascent Soul." Wang Zhiro said anxiously, "Dad, please save him. If this continues, he will be killed." Wang Zong shook his head and said, "Zhiro, people always have to pay the price for their choices. Challenging Yuanying in the Golden Core realm is a stupid act. Saving him will completely offend the Tang family to death. It's not worth it." Wang Zhiro trembled when she heard this and turned to look at Huang San. Huang San also shook his head and said, "It is very difficult to be able to fight against the Nascent Soul realm until now. He can indeed be called a genius, but he is still far from the standard in my heart." As for Tianhuang, he followed Huang San's lead. Huang San had already refused, so it was naturally impossible for him to do anything against Huang San's will. "Wang Zongdao, let's go, the result is already obvious." After Huang San stared at Qin Buyi for a long time, he let out a long sigh, "Alas!" Just as the four were preparing to leave. "To kill Tang Jintian, you must kill him." Many distracting thoughts finally converged into one word: kill. Tang Fist, the white tiger, carries the corpse. Boom! Was bombarded again. Cough! Qin Buyi spat out a large mouthful of blood, which was mixed with internal organ fragments. He stood up unsteadily, his consciousness gradually becoming blurry. The tenacious will to survive and the strong intention to kill are condensed together. The sword's snow-white blade exudes a cold light, with a black and red point appearing from the center. The black and red color quickly spread to the entire blade. The black and red blade looked extremely strange at this time, exuding strong murderous intent under the moonlight. Almost at the same time, Qin Buyi's pupils also showed a flash of black and red, and the black and red instantly spread to occupy his eyes. When he was in a daze, he seemed to hear an indistinguishable male and female voice coming from his ears and sneered, "Boy, this is not how you use a knife." The four people who were about to leave in Tian except Wang Zhiro, who had no cultivation level, the other three looked at their feet almost instantly. "Wait, there seems to be a turning point." Huang San said. Wang Zong looked down with a solemn expression and said, "The killing intent is so strong, I can smell the blood even from such a distance." Tianhuang said with a serious expression, "The killing intent is filled with coldness, madness, and bloodthirsty. How many people must be killed to gather such terrifying killing intent?" For the first time, Huang San's expression was no longer calm, his eyes were staring down. "It's this murderous intention that scares me, but it's more dangerous than the last time I saw him. Brother Qin, what are you hiding in your body?" "Secret. Tang Fist, White Tiger." When the attacking Tang Jintian was still in mid-air, Qin Buyi, who was seriously injured and close to death, suddenly reached out and grabbed Tang Jintian's attacking arm, and said in a cold voice, "It's my turn now." Tang Jintian, whose arm was grabbed, tried to break free several times but to no avail. Qin Buyi's hands held him tightly like pliers. How could this happen? Tang Jintian was shocked. At this time, Qin Buyi's eyes were filled with black and red, and his body exuded murderous intent that made him tremble in his heart. Tang Jintian seemed to see a mountain of corpses and a sea of blood from the killing intent that was almost solidifying. "Who are you?" Tang Jintian asked stutteringly. The face in front of him was still the same, but Qin Buyi now made Tang Jintian want to escape quickly, as if there was a great terror here. Qin Buyi seemed to carelessly raise the hand that had been holding Tang Jintian into a fist, and lightly hit Tang Jintian. Boom! 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 Tang Jintian's body seemed to be hit by a high-speed train. He flew more than 100 meters in the air and then hit the ground at high speed. Boom! With Tang Jintian as the center, the ground paved with blue brick split more than 20 meters in all directions like a spider web. the Tang family is in the sky. Wang Zong's eyes were so shocked that he almost popped out of his eyes. Why, how is it possible? Even I can't punch this old guy Tang Jintian so far away. Huang San and Nan Tianhuang said nothing, staring closely below, wondering what they were thinking. Cough. Tang Jintian spat out a large mouthful of blood, and his clothes were broken into strips like a beggar's outfit. What kind of monster is this? Tang Jintian was horrified in his heart. When Qin Buyi made his move just now, the bloodthirsty and crazy murderous intention surged in, as terrifying as hell. Whoosh! Qin Buyi tapped his foot lightly and appeared in front of Tang Jintian across 100 meters distance in an instant. What speed is this? Even I can't do it. Tang Jintian was completely confused. He couldn't understand why Qin Buyi, who was about to die, suddenly became so strong. Obviously, it's clear that the cultivation aura is still in the golden core realm, but, why can't even the nascent soul realm be matched? Tang Jintian thought to himself. Qin Buyi held the black-red killing blade in his hand, looked down at Tang Jintian from a high position, and said softly. Killing and slaughtering. The blade of the killing blade does not appear to have any changes on the surface, but if you look closely, you can see that the killing blade is vibrating at super high speeds, but the vibration frequency exceeds what is visible to the naked eye, and it becomes stationary visually. Invincible. Tang Jintian said with difficulty. He had a premonition that if this knife fell on him, he would definitely die. Cut. Qin Buyi held the killing blade in place and made several empty cuts at Tang Jintian from a distance, like a child drawing pictures. Laugh. What? In an instant, blood splattered everywhere. Tang Jintian's limbs were separated from his body, and Tang Jintian's screams of pain filled the entire Tang family. Qin Buyi, who had regained consciousness but could not control his body, once again heard the indistinguishable male and female voice. Boy, watch what happens next. Qin Buyi flew up in the air, flying to a height where he could overlook the entire Tang family, and slashed downwards with the killing blade. Kill, annihilate. The waning moon formed by the killing blade was thousands of times larger than before, covering Tang Jintian and the entire Tang family. The waning moon is like a cover buckling over the entire Tang family, and the cover emits light like moonlight, brilliant and gorgeous. The light dissipated, and Tang Jintian and the entire Tang family, shrouded in the waning moon, completely disappeared, as if they had never appeared. Qin Buyi turned his head and glanced at the four members of Wang Zong before slowly falling to the ground. Ding dong. The sound of metal falling to the ground came. Qin Buyi, who regained control of his body, picked up the ring, penetrated the ring with his spiritual thoughts, and found a compass-like object inside the ring. Ding. For killing Tang Jintian, one of the important figures of the Tang family, the reward of 5 attribute points has been distributed. Ding. Main mission, obtain the fixed star compass and complete it. The task reward has been issued. Ding. War mission, destroy the Tang family completed. The task reward has been issued. Qin Buyi took a long breath after hearing the system prompt. It was like countless knives cutting flesh in his body, and he could hold back the severe pain in his body. He walked out of the ruins of the Tang family's residence without changing his expression. He came out. Wow, so handsome. The Tang family is just gone. The Tang family, which has thrived in Qian city for 300 years, will become history from now on. The crowd outside the Tang family surged, and they all wanted to come forward after seeing Qin Buyi coming out. Qin Buyi glanced coldly at the crowd approaching him, murderous intent emerging from his body. The crowd stopped one after another and involuntarily opened a passage to let Qin Buyi, who was full of murderous aura, walk through. Passing through the crowd, Qin Buyi disappeared into the night after a few ups and downs. The Tang family is in the sky. The 4 people, including Huang San, had a layer of dense cold sweat on their foreheads. When he looked at me just now, I felt that as long as I made a slight movement, my fate would not be much better than that of Tang Jintian. Wang Zong took a long breath and said fearfully. The Tang family just disappeared. Nan Tianhuang asked, looking at the Tang family's old site below where there was no hair left. The final blow to annihilate the Tang family was a power that far exceeded several realms of the Nascent Soul realm. It was really terrifying. Huang San said in a complicated tone. Young master, we are in trouble now. It would be fine if we just killed Tang Jintian and a few of his senior officials, but Qin Buyi will wipe out the entire Tang family branch with one strike. The Tang family in the imperial capital will not let it go. Nan Tianhuang frowning. Qin Buyi is in big trouble. If the Tang family in the imperial capital pursues him, his life will be hard to save. If you want to win over this person, you'd better make plans in advance. Huang San, who had always said that he would resist the matter, now looked troubled, as if he had made some decision for a while. He gritted his teeth slightly and said, I will carry him over to the imperial capital. The most important thing now is how to bring Qin Buyi under my account. Huang San looked towards the direction Qin Buyi left. He didn't know what specific changes had happened to Qin Buyi just now. It is known that the power Qin Buyi just used was not his own, but this is not important. The situation is becoming increasingly unfavorable. Our side urgently needs strong combat power. No matter how this combat power exists, this person is bound to win it. Chapter 13 Breakthrough, Tianhuang Body. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Falling Star Mountains. After Qin Buyi left the Tang family, he went directly to the Luoxing Mountains. With such a big limelight, it would be safer to get along with the monsters in the Luoxing Mountains than to be noticed in Qian City. When he thought of completely annihilating the Tang family and its residents into ruins, even in Qin Buyi's state of mind, he couldn't help but twitch the corner of his mouth. Recalling that I was in the Tang family just now, it was like watching a movie. After the control of my body was taken away, my body exploded with strength beyond its current state. He punched Tang Jintian more than 100 meters away. It looked like he was using the same killing sword technique. The first killing move lightly chopped off Tang Jintian's limbs. The second execution style turned into a huge waning moon, erasing the entire Tang family and its buildings from Qian City. He looked at the killing blade with cold light in his hand with complicated eyes. At this time, there was no trace of black and red on the blade of the killing blade. Open the introduction to Seshablade and Seshoken. Killing blade level, introduction, a sharp blade that existed for killing, a killing blade that once made countless sentient beings tremble. To unlock all its secrets, you need stronger strength. Killing sword technique, second level, introduction. This is a sword technique that was once famous in the heavens and was jointly created with the Slayer blade specifically for killing. When you become strong enough, someone will tell you the story behind it. Looking at these two introductions again, Qin Buyi felt more enlightened. He put the killing blade in his hand in front of his eyes and said softly, "Thank you for tonight." Who? A gust of night wind blew by, but the killing blade showed no reaction. Qin Buyi had already anticipated this situation. When he originally chose the killing blade, his master-devouring behavior was still fresh in his mind. Now I don't know why he is helping me, but I may not have much recognition in Seshuki's heart. In the final analysis, his own strength is too poor and his cultivation is too weak. The attribute points are enough. It's time to break through. Qin Buyi whispered, completing the main mission will reward you with 8 attribute points, and killing Tang Jintian will reward you with 5 attribute points, for a total of 13 points. Qin Buyi first added some attributes to his cultivation. Name, Qin Buyi, cultivation, level 50 golden elixir perfection, 50/- breakthrough possible. Breakthrough, that the inside of the seriously injured body was as painful as countless knives cutting flesh at any time. After the breakthrough was initiated, the severe pain intensified instantly, and Qin Buyi felt that the knife turned into a saw, not only cutting flesh but also sawing bones, and I was like a twist. In such a bad condition inside my body, I still had to be ravaged by being twisted 3 times to the left and 3 times to the right. Hi! That this kind of pain that exceeded physical limits made Qin Buyi grimace in pain and roll his eyes. In severe pain, Qin Buyi suddenly remembered the sarcastic tone that could not tell the difference between men and women. He gritted his teeth and said nothing, beads of sweat the size of soybeans dripping from his forehead. I don't know how long it has been. There was a crisp sound of click. Inside his body, the severe pain dissipated, and waves of cool feeling came. the injuries on his body caused during the fight in the Tang family were quickly repaired under the waves of coolness. Qin Buyi, who had recovered from his injury, opened his personal information panel. Name, Qin Buyi, cultivation level, level 62, early stage of Nascent Soul, 100/- power, 62. Speed, 62. Stamina, 62. Attack, 62. Defense, 62. Luck, 62. Killing blade level 62, 100/- attack, 62. Killing sword technique level 50, 50/- cannot break through without follow-up. Attack, 50. After his cultivation breakthrough, Qin Buyi drew out his killing blade and slashed on the spot, feeling the power of the third level. No wonder they say that the Golden Core realm and the Nascent Soul realm are a natural chasm. If I were to face Tang Jintian now, I would be able to kill him with a few moves. Qin Buyi said while holding the knife. There are also system malls and elementary Tianhuang bodies. Ding, the system mall is being activated for the first time. Ding, the system mall has been successfully activated. Ding, the primary Tianhuang body is being activated for the first time. Ding, the primary Tianhuang body has been successfully activated. When the primary Tianhuang body was activated, Qin Buyi instantly felt that his strength, speed, defense, attack power, etc. had increased. Open the system store. In the mall, starting from the first level to the third level, there are various props, weapons, elixirs, techniques, formations, etc. There are so many types that it's a bit dazzling to see, and the required mall points are marked behind each item. Qin Buyi didn't need anything at the moment. There are two options below the mall, one is recycling and the other is attribute redemption. After reading the introduction to recycling, Qin Buyi understood what recycling meant. He can hand over all valuable items in the storage space to the system mall for recycling, and the system mall will give certain mall points based on their value. This function is great. Qin Buyi's eyes lit up. He was originally thinking about how to exchange the things in the space rings obtained from the Tang family into resources. With this function, you don't have to worry about getting treasures and other things in the future. All the space rings were thrown into the system mall. Drop, value determination, drop, according to the system's judgment, the total value is 15 points. Including the 35 points rewarded by the war mission, there are now a total of mall points. Open attribute exchange. After Qin Buyi read the introduction to the attribute redemption function, a hint of joy appeared on his face. This function combined with the recycling system is a perfect match. He can use mall points to redeem attributes. The first order is 1 point of integration and 1 point of attributes, second order 2-point integral and 1 point property, the third level has 5 points and 1 attribute, level, and above are unknown. Without any hesitation, Qin Buyi exchanged 35 mall points into 7 attribute points to add to his cultivation. Name, Qin Buyi, cultivation. Level 69 middle Nascent Soul, 100/- power, 69. Speed, 69. Stamina, 69. Attack, 69. Defense, 69. Luck. 69. Killing blade level 69, 100/- attack, 69. Killing sword technique level 50, 50/- cannot break through without follow-up, attack, 50. His cultivation has reached the middle stage of Nascent Soul. Pairing these two functions together, it is completely possible to support war through war. Qin Buyi thought, close the system mall and look at the introduction of Junior Tianhuang Elementary, all attributes increased by 5.00%, there is no fancy introduction, and the power of Tianhuang is fully demonstrated in just a few words. Don't underestimate this 5%, the increase may not be obvious in the early stage. But as the cultivation level becomes stronger, various attributes become higher and higher, and this 5% increase cannot be underestimated. What's even more unreasonable is that all attributes actually increase, which is very important. Is the elementary Tianhuang body that strong? How about the intermediate and advanced ones? Qin Buyi thought in his mind. At this time, his strength had increased compared to when he broke through Yuanying. Qin Buyi calculated that if he encountered an enemy with Tang Jintian's cultivation level now, he would be able to kill him with one strike. Also, you will have the preliminary ability to fly when you reach the Nascent Soul realm. After Qin Buyi's breakthrough, there was an extra message in his mind, and the content of the message was how to fly. He couldn't wait to adjust his condition, and his body slowly rose into the air, 1 foot, 2 feet, 3 feet, 1 foot, 2 feet, 3 feet, hundreds of meters, kilometers, 10,000 meters. At first, my body was a little shaky in the air, but I became more familiar with this feeling. Qin Buyi soared freely in the sky. Roared up with a long roar, he breathed out all the turbid air in his chest. Qin Buyi has always been fascinated by the flying gods in novels since his childhood. When one day he can fly himself, the joy cannot be expressed in words. Growing up on Blue Star since he was a child, Qin Buyi has flown on an airplane and experienced various advanced technologies that can enable short-term flight, but no matter how advanced technology is, it cannot allow a person to fly freely at an altitude of meters without any protection on his own strength. The slightly intelligent animals in the Luoxing Mountains looked at Qin Buyi flying in the sky, with longing in their eyes. For all creatures that are born flightless, whether they are humans or animals, this yearning for the sky is an instinct engraved in their genes. Qin Buyi slowly landed after having enough fun in the sky. Crack crack that there was a sound of clapping and applause in the darkness. Looking at Huang who appeared in front of him from the darkness, Qin Buyi looked wary. As if he didn't see it, Huang said with a smile, "Congratulations to Brother Qin for breaking through to the Nascent Soul realm." Chapter 14 Huang III's Generous Gift. You are listening at Audio. Qin Buyi said nothing and looked at Huang with probing eyes. A bunch of question marks appeared in front of Qin Buyi's eyes, just like when he first met Huang at the Huang family. This situation can only show that Huang has surpassed him by too much. The exploring eye can know the details of all enemies with similar strength to yourself, but when faced with an enemy that exceeds one's own strength, there is no way to detect it. All information about Huang is unknown. When they first met, he showed kindness to himself and gave him a jade plaque, saying that it might save his life when his life was in danger. Qin Buyi did not use this jade token when he was in a difficult situation in a life-and-death fight with Tang Jintian. For Qin Buyi, even if he survived, he would only live for 3 more months. Once the task deadline is up, if you can't complete the task, you will still be wiped out. More importantly, in Qin Buyi's opinion, living like this would make him unable to face his own heart. After destroying the Tang family with the help of the killing blade with shocking force, Qin Buyi was not sure whether the person in front of him would pose a threat to him because of the greed in his heart. This is also the reason why he chose to return to the Luoxing Mountains as soon as possible after leaving the Tang family. During the Tang family's battle, too many eyes were focused on him, and the entire Qinyang city must have been speculating on his so-called shocking adventure. Seeing Qin Buyi's guarded look, Huang sighed, "Brother Qin, don't be so tense. I have no hostility towards you." Then Huang looked at Qin Buyi with a sincere expression and said, "Brother Qin, my purpose here is to sincerely invite you to join." Qin Buyi said in a half-believing tone, "Join?" Now everyone in Qinyang city must be passing on the cultivation of the Golden Core realm to annihilate the Tang family, trying to get the adventure from me. Are you not tempted? Everyone wants a shocking adventure, but adventure should only come to the virtuous. I am not greedy about the adventure that comes to Brother Qin. I act openly. If I really want to covet the adventure you have, I won't bother to deceive you with these words. And if I were to do that, I would not be the only one here at this moment. You would have been surrounded by others. Huang replied, paused for a moment, and said with a hint of arrogance in his tone, "Furthermore, some people think that treasures are found by chance, but in my opinion, they are just ordinary and I don't like them at all." As soon as he finished speaking, Huang added as if he had obsessive-compulsive disorder. Correction, we are now in the Nascent Soul realm, and in the middle Nascent Soul stage. It is not unusual for someone to hide his cultivation in the middle Nascent Soul stage and destroy the Tang family who only have the early Nascent Soul stage. This can also save a lot of trouble. Qin Buyi said, "I underestimate Brother Huang's mind. In this case, please be honest with each other about your identity and purpose." Brother Qin has already guessed it with his wisdom, so there is no need to ask more. Huang San said with a smile. I am the third prince of the Ming dynasty. I am the third among the princes, so I am nicknamed Huang San. My real name is Ingji. I sincerely invite Brother Qin to join and assist me. Seeing Ingji's clear eyes and sincerity in his words, Qin Buyi remained silent for a long time and said, I will be out for training recently, so I may not be able to help you. Is it very far? Ingji said without any doubt in his tone. Qin Buyi nodded and said in an uncertain tone, it's very far, very far. There is a possibility that I will never come back. After hearing this, Ingji's eyes showed a hint of disappointment, but he hid his disappointment in the next second and said, then what help do you need, and what can I do for you? Thank you, Brother Ingji, for your kindness. Qin Buyi declined politely. After Ingji thought for a while, he took off the space ring from his hand and stuffed it into Qin Buyi's hand, and said with a smile. You always need to make money when you go out. The resources in this ring may be able to help Brother Qin at a critical moment. Qin Buyi's cultivation level was not as high as Ingji's and he couldn't defeat him. He looked at the ring in his hand and said in a complicated tone, why do you want to help me? Because Brother Qin and I hit it off right away. As friends, shouldn't we help each other? Brother Qin, take care. If you encounter difficulties, there is a way to contact me in the ring. As soon as he finished speaking, Ingji's figure disappeared from Qin Buyi's eyes. Friends? Qin Buyi murmured, since becoming a killer, these two words have been far away from him. What Ingji said about his experience in his tone did not even question whether he was trying to dodge or was unwilling to join. Opening the space ring left by Ingji, even Qin Buyi was shocked by the resources contained in the ring. Boxes of low-grade spiritual stones are neatly arranged in the ring, with pieces in each box. A total of 100 boxes, on top of the low-grade spiritual stones. There are 10 boxes of medium-grade spiritual stones and 1 box of high-grade spiritual stones. 1 middle-grade spiritual stone can be exchanged for 10 low-grade spiritual stones, and 1 high-grade spiritual stone can be exchanged for 10 middle-grade spiritual stones. If they were all exchanged for low-grade spiritual stones, that would be a total of 300 million low-grade spiritual stones. This gift is too precious. In addition to the spiritual stone, there is also a letter and something that looks like a jade talisman inside the ring. Presumably, that is the way Ingji said he could contact him. Take out the letter, which introduces how to use the Dao Jade Talisman. Sound transmission Jade Talisman. That he took out the Jade Talisman and penetrated the Jade Talisman with his spiritual thoughts. The message he sent out was like a stone sinking into the sea. With no response, Qin Buyi flew all the way back to Qinyang City. When he came to the sky above Qinyang City, he saw the city lord Nan Tianhuang and Wang Zong waiting for him in the sky. After a while, it will be the middle stage of Yuaning. Wang Zong looked at Qin Buyi with an exaggerated expression. Nan Tianhuang was slightly stronger than him, but the shaking fingers hidden in his sleeves betrayed him. It was obvious that he was not very peaceful inside. Nan Tianhuang said, Master Qin, my young master has left Qinyang City. Before leaving, I told you that if you come looking for him, I tell you that you don't need to look for him. There is no need to be polite among friends. Wang Zong echoed from the side, the third prince is like this, just get used to it. Qin Buyi wanted to ask something more, but it was obvious that the two of them were tight-lipped, and they would definitely not say anything if he asked. He bowed to them and turned to leave. On the way back to the Luoxing Mountains, Qin Buyi felt heavy in his heart. No reward for no merit, let alone such a great gift. Qin Buyi did not move the low-grade spiritual stone in the space ring. After completing the epic task, he would find a way to find Ingji and return it to him in person. Taking out the star-fixing compass, Qin Buyi inserted his spiritual thoughts into it to activate the compass. The stationary pointer on the compass rotates continuously after activation. About a quarter of an hour later, the hands moved slower and slower, slowly stopping and pointing in one direction, at the same time. Inside the falling star mountains, a giant fox all white in body, the most peculiar thing is that it has 9 tails on its back. The strange eyes seemed to look through the space in the direction of Qin Buyi, and said to himself. The fixed star compass. It's actually in the hands of a nascent soul stage human being. that the giant fox slightly raised its front paws. Snapped, that the power of stars emerged from the giant fox. One end of the power of the stars is connected to the giant fox, and the other end is connected to a bright ball the size of a basketball above the giant fox. Damn it! This star core still retained its instincts after the meteorite was destroyed. It trapped me here as nutrients for more than 300 years. The giant fox's eyes flashed as he thought, this human boy with the fixed star compass can actually make a good plan. Chapter 15 Demon King, Demon King. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Qin Buyi flew in the direction of the compass pointer. The direction of the compass pointer is the real restricted area of the Falling Star Mountains. That I remembered some rumors about the forbidden area in the Luoxing Mountains. It is said that there is a demon king in the realm of gods in the forbidden area. Only a small number of beasts can activate their spiritual intelligence by chance. After spiritual intelligence is activated, they rely on instinct to cultivate. After opening the spiritual wisdom, we are no longer called beasts, and humans call them monsters. Establishing the foundation and the golden pill are small demons, while Nascent Soul and Transformation God are the big demons. In the Luoxing Mountains, generally by the late stage of Nascent Soul realm, one can basically occupy the territory and become the king. This trip is very likely to confront the demon king of the Transformation God realm. No wonder it is an epic mission. If you are not careful, you will lose your life. Soon, Qin Buyi flew to the restricted area of Luoxing mountain range. There was deathly silence in the restricted area, filled with a murderous atmosphere, a venomous snake as thick as a bucket, with a green body and a triangular head. It was entangled in a tree and looked at Qin Buyi while spitting out a message. With the exploratory eyes, I learned that this poisonous snake was in the late stage of Jindan. Late stage of golden elixir. Spiritual intelligence should be able to communicate normally. Maybe we can get some information from it. Qin Buyi thought of this, and his figure accelerated in mid-air. The poisonous snake watched Qin Buyi flying towards him without any panic. He opened his mouth wide and his two poisonous fangs glowed dimly in his mouth. When Qin Buyi was still a foot away from the poisonous snake suddenly launched an attack, but its speed is the same as slow play in Qin Buyi's eyes. Snapped, he grabbed 7 inches of the snake, used a little force in his hand, and slammed the big snake as thick as a bucket from the air to the ground. Boom! There was a loud noise, a big hole was made on the ground, and the poisonous snake was beaten to pieces before it could recover. Qin Buyi ducked in front of it, grabbed its snake tail with his big hand, and threw it towards the ground like a whip. Bang! Bang! Boom! There was a loud bang on the ground, and dozens of blows passed by. Qin Buyi clapped his hands and looked at the venomous snake on the ground, which no longer had the power it once had and was as soft as a loach. Tell me how many demon kings there are in the Luoxing Mountains and what their cultivation level is. Qin Buyi said. It took a while for the viper to slow down, raise its upper body into an offensive posture, and spit out the message. The two snake eyes looked at Qin Buyi ruthlessly and cruelly. Qin Buyi nodded at Viper's performance and said jokingly, "You're still quite tough and can't speak. Let me teach you." Boom! A kick hit the snake's belly, and the venomous snake was kicked dozens of meters away. Qin Buyi flew into the air and kicked the poisonous snake again. Bang! Bang! Boom! Just like that, the poisonous snake was kicked into the sky by Qin Buyi like a ball. In the eyes of the viper, he is getting higher and higher from the ground, dozens of meters, a few hundred meters, thousands of meters, thousands of meters. Qin Buyi's curious voice came to Viper's ears. If you fall from this height, will the golden elixir fall into a puddle of flesh in the later stage? That before the Viper could react, a strong feeling of weightlessness came over him. Under the acceleration of gravity, the venomous snake became faster and faster, falling rapidly from an altitude of meters. It was like two pieces of sandpaper rubbing together, making a hoarse sound, mixed in the wind and shouting, "Save me, I said. Boom! That when he was still a few hundred meters away from the ground, Qin Buyi grabbed the venomous snake by its tail and stopped it firmly in the air, falling from a height of meters and being grabbed by the tail a few hundred meters away, the tearing pain made the poisonous snake greet Qin Buyi's ancestors in his heart. "Ha! It seems that I scared you. You should wake up." Qin Buyi said with some false concern. After saying that, he kicked the poisonous snake down from a height of several hundred meters. Boom! The viper landed heavily, and a huge crater was created on the ground. Qin Buyi stood next to the poisonous snake and said, "I never force others and am good at persuading others with virtue. If you don't want to speak, you can speak out." Viper looked at Qin Buyi beside him and slowly drew out a knife that was full of dangerous aura and exuded cold light. The whole snake shuddered. Those who know the current situation are long-lived snakes. The man in front of me will probably peel off his skin if he gets angry. Not daring to continue pretending to be dead, he said with a hint of flattery in his tone, "No, I will be happy to answer your questions." After Qin Buyi finished listening, he didn't say anything. He grabbed the snake's tail and smashed it against the ground a dozen times before saying, "Say what you just said again." The poisonous snake, who didn't understand the situation and was completely stunned, dared to say it again in anger but dared not speak. After he finished speaking, as expected by the snake, the man in front of him grabbed his tail again. Bang! Bang! Boom! He experienced the same beating again and said what he just said again. After going through the process of beating and answering several times, the demon in front of him finally smiled as if satisfied. Seeing the cold light-emitting killing blade in the man's hand, the poisonous snake almost cried. After being treated like a non-snake, it was about to kill the snake. Qin Buyi looked at the trembling viper on the ground and asked doubtfully, "Why don't you leave? Do you want to stay for a meal?" The poisonous snake felt as if he was being pardoned when he heard this, and his body as thick as a bucket crawled up and quickly disappeared before Qin Buyi's eyes. Before leaving, the snake thought to himself, "Eating? It doesn't exist. Do you want to stay and let me serve you as dinner? You miss me, Lu Qingda, Orochi. To be humiliated like this by a human being, this matter is endless." Qin Buyi looked at the direction where the poisonous snake left with a strange look on his face, shook his head and said, "What a strange snake." He stopped paying attention to the snake and remembered the information he had received. There are 3 demon kings in the forbidden area, the wolf demon king, the wolf demon king, the bear demon king, and the legendary giant fox demon king who has not appeared for hundreds of years. The weakest is the Yao demon king, who is only in the late stage of yuanying, followed by the wolf demon king, who is in the yuanying perfection stage, and the strongest is the bear demon king, who is in the early stage of becoming a god. As for the giant fox demon emperor's realm, which is unknown, as the only demon emperor in the falling star mountains, one thing that is certain is that his cultivation level must exceed the realm of transformation. A bear demon king in the divine transformation realm is enough to give him a headache. If he encounters a giant fox demon king whose cultivation exceeds the divine transformation realm, he will basically be declared dead. Qin Buyi said with some uncertainty, "The system shouldn't issue tasks that cannot be completed, right?" That when he said this, he had no idea in his heart. If Seshori had not suddenly come to help him in the Tang family, he would most likely have become a traitor. At that time, tasks to obtain attribute points and continue breakthroughs could not bypass the Tang family. It was not like now that you can redeem attributes in the system mall. The system forced you to face the Tang family. Thinking of attribute exchange, Qin Buyi's eyes lit up. He could improve his cultivation by exchanging attributes. There are still nearly 3 months left for the mission. During this time, you can get a lot of resources to redeem attributes. Looking at the boxes of spirit stones in the space ring, you can borrow them if necessary. After completing the task, you can use the mall points to exchange the corresponding number of spirit stones back. Qin Buyi is not a pedantic person. He did not expect that the mission would be so dangerous before. Not only would there be demon kings in the early stages of becoming gods, but they might also encounter demon kings who had surpassed the realm of god transformation. If possible, Qin Buyi would naturally not want to move the spirit stones in the winning space ring, but it would be ridiculous to insist on it when the situation is critical. Ding, a limited time mission is triggered. Kill 3 demon kings within 3 days. And if you fail, you will be wiped out. Task reward, for every demon king who dies, 10 attribute points will be awarded. kill them all, reward, a 4th level teleportation talisman. Tip, from now on, turn off all functions of the system mall and turn them on after completing the epic mission. The mission is limited to 3 days, close the system mall, put an end to all opportunism, and force yourself to hone in a life-and-death fight. After listening to the system prompts, Qin Buyi had a dark look on his face. He stood there for a long time before uttering a sentence. Well, what a trap. Detect the second time the host disrespects the system and punish it. 3 inches above the head, lightning flashed, and a purple thunderbolt as thick as a thumb appeared. Crack, the thunder struck Qin Buyi, and numbness and pain came from his body, which lasted for about a minute before dissipating. Qin Buyi pursed his lips and said nothing, thinking about which demon king to attack first. Since the situation cannot be changed, instead of complaining, it is better to concentrate on thinking about how to solve the situation. Chapter 16 The Wolf Flees. You are listening at Audio. According to the intelligence, the Yao Demon King is closest to him and is also the weakest among the 3 demon kings. I remembered what the green poisonous snake had said, that the Monster King and the Wolf Monster King in front of me were inseparable, but recently, for some unknown reason, he broke away from the wolf pack and moved out alone. That's it. After making a decision, Qin Buyi flew to the cave of Yao King. After flying over a swamp, we arrived at the cave of the Demon King. It is said to be a cave, but it is actually a large cave that has been decorated with the aesthetics of the demon clan. Several large holes were drilled above the cave for daily lighting. The interior is covered with a layer of animal skins on the ground, and some monster skeletons are used for decoration, a luxurious cave abode according to the aesthetics of the demon clan has been completed. Qin Buyi looked at the Stone Age-style cave in front of him from the air and shook his head. It was obvious that he did not approve of the aesthetics of the demon clan. Holding the killing blade and walking into the cave, the interior of the cave is extremely spacious, about the size of 2 to 3 football fields. Who is it? Human. A sinister voice reached Qin Buyi's ears. In the center of the cave is a monster with short front legs and long hind legs. It is basically the same as a wolf except for its limbs. At this time, scarlet eyes were staring at Qin Buyi. Ao is a variant of the wolf, cunning and cruel in nature. Due to its short front legs, its young cannot survive independently and has to rely on wolves to survive. Without further ado, he drew out his killing blade and slashed towards the neck of the Demon King with the sharp blade. A mere human in the middle stage of Nascent Soul actually dares to come looking for death. Yushu Kamein, the Yao King made bursts of intoxicating sounds from his mouth, and his voice was full of charm, making people imagine. Female, only then did Qin Buyi realize that the Yao King opposite him was a female, and he looked at the Yao King more curiously. As for the melancholy sound made by the Yao King, if it were a woman with a stunning appearance, she might have some feelings, but facing a furry monster, Qin Buyi didn't feel anything at all. He frowned slightly and increased the power of the killing blade in his hand. Laugh, the sharp blade slashed into the Yao King's neck, leaving a wound deep enough to show the bone. You actually, were not affected in any way. The Yao King looked at Qin Buyi in shock. Ignoring the shock of the Yao King, he slashed at the Yao King again with his killing blade. The Yao King hurriedly retreated, and the blood flowing on her neck reminded her that the humans in front of her were not easy to mess with, and they would lose their lives if they were not careful. Yan is not good at fighting by nature, and he often plays the role of strategist among the wolves. Even if he breaks through to the late Nascent Soul stage, the means of fighting are nothing more than charm, teasing, etc., to make the opponent fall into an illusion and then kill the opponent. The fighting method she is best at now is ineffective against Qin Buyi, and she is already thinking about how to escape. Killing and slaughtering. Qin Buyi kicked the ground with his toes, holding a high-speed vibrating killing blade and attacking the Yao King. This human is so fast. Although the Yao King tried his best to dodge, his speed was not as fast as Qin Buyi's. He did not dodge, but only avoided the vital parts. The killing blade struck the Yao King's front paw. Laugh, the blade slashed through it, and the 2 front claws of the Yao King broke off and fell to the ground. Ow! Both claws were broken, and the screams of the Yao Demon King filled the entire cave. The Demon King, who had no intention of fighting, glanced at Qin Buyi with scarlet eyes and hatred, as if he wanted to carve the human being in front of him into his heart. He turned around and fled out of the cave. Qin Buyi followed closely behind. As soon as he arrived outside the cave, a black shadow in his field of vision rushed towards him at a very fast speed. Clang! That the killing blade was blocked in front of him, and a huge force hit along the blade. Qin Buyi took a few steps back before he could completely remove the force. In front of him was a giant wolf 3 meters tall and 5 meters long, looking at Qin Buyi with murderous intent. "Human, you dare to hurt my beloved Yener like this, I will tear you apart." At this time, the Yao Demon King stood next to the Wolf Demon King and said resentfully, "My husband is this human being. If I don't cut him into pieces, it will be difficult to understand the hatred in my heart." Looking at the Wolf Demon King and the Yao Demon King gathered together, Qin Buyi said with a cold and murderous tone, "This is just right. It saves me another trip and sends you to die together." The Wolf Demon King shouted angrily, "Arrogant! Today is the day you die. Many people have said this to me before, and they all died. This is the first time I heard a beast say this. How long do you think you can live? Is a quarter of an hour enough?" After Qin Buyi finished speaking, he took the lead in attacking and stabbed the Yao King in the eye with the killing blade. "You dare!" The Wolf Demon King said angrily, opening his bloody mouth and biting Qin Buyi. "If you want to die so much, let me help you first, and then send you on your way." Qin Buyi shouted. Killing and slaughtering. The blade of the killing blade vibrated at high speed, and gradually it seemed to stop vibrating at high speed, and was held by Qin Buyi in his hand. This is what Qin Buyi realized when he saw the killing blade perform this killing style in the Tang family. The vibration frequency of the blade is greatly increased, making it exceed the vibration frequency visible to the naked eye, visually achieving a seemingly static effect. Danger! The Wolf Demon King's pupils shrank. He felt an extremely dangerous aura from this knife. If he didn't handle it properly, he might be seriously injured. "Behead!" Qin Buyi shouted. Laugh! The blade penetrated the Wolf Demon King's entire abdomen, and blood spattered everywhere. Through the squirming muscles under the fur, the intestines could be vaguely seen. Roar! Severe pain came from his abdomen, and the Wolf Demon King kept roaring in pain. Kill! Annihilate! The killing blade shrouded the entire body of the Wolf Demon King like a waning moon. Chi! Clang! Chi! Dang! Dang! The waning moon dissipated, and the Wolf Demon King's shiny fur was now covered with blood. Blood flowed down the body of the Wolf Demon King, and the fully aroused Wolf Demon King pounced on Qin Buyi. Wolf technique, serious heart devouring. The huge mouth that could have swallowed a calf now opened wider, seeming to swallow Qin Buyi whole. The Wolf Demon King's sharp teeth were glowing red and he bit down crazily at Qin Buyi. Facing the Wolf Demon King's attack, Qin Buyi did not dodge and faced him with the killing blade. Killing and slaughtering. Chong! The Wolf Demon King's sharp teeth bit the body of the killing blade, sparks emitting from it. Kill! Qin Buyi shouted, mobilizing all his strength to concentrate on the sword, and the strength of the sword instantly increased greatly. Boom! In a head-on collision, Qin Buyi held the killing blade and knocked the Wolf Demon King away more than 10 meters with great force. Before the Wolf Demon King could get up, the killing blade attack covered him again. Kill! Annihilate! The waning moon, which was larger than the Wolf Demon King, appeared again. Hey! Hey! Laugh! The sound of the blade piercing flesh kept coming. The waning moon dissipated, and the Wolf Demon King's body was now like a sieve, with blood holes densely covered in the huge body. Blood flowed out from the hole, and the Wolf Demon King began to sway like a candle in the wind. Killing and slaughtering. The high-speed vibrating killing blade slashed towards the Wolf Demon King's neck. Laugh! The wolf's head fell to the ground, his eyes full of unwillingness, as if he was questioning why his yuanying perfection would die in the hands of a human in the middle stage of yuanying. In battles of the same level, monster beasts have always had the advantage, and their combat power is more than a little higher than that of humans of the same level. But why is this? Qin Buyi walked to the wolf's head and whispered, "You are so weak. I thought you could live for a quarter of an hour, but I didn't expect that you didn't even last half a quarter of an hour. Don't worry, your idiot will be with you soon. After hearing Qin Buyi's murderous words, the Wolf Demon King's eyes completely darkened. Ding, for killing the Wolf Demon King, the reward of 10 attribute points has been distributed. When the fight just started, the Yao Demon King had already fled, not caring about the life or death of the Wolf Demon King. After adding attribute points to his cultivation, Qin Buyi followed the blood trail and chased the Demon King. Chapter 17 The Furious Bear Demon King. You are listening at Audio. Soon Qin Buyi caught up with the fleeing Demon King, holding the killing blade in his hand. His speed increased sharply and he slashed towards the Yao King. Damn it, that idiot Wolf Demon King couldn't kill him. Seeing Qin Buyi behind him, the Yao King looked like he was seeing the god of death, and cursed in a low voice. You shu, substitute death. Laugh, the blade slashed through the body of the Yao King, and a burst of smoke exploded out of thin air. The smoke dissipated, leaving only a tail in place. Ahem. Why did this damn human being suddenly gain so much strength? As Qin Buyi killed the Wolf Demon King, the attribute points gained increased in strength. Even though he reacted immediately, the Yao King still couldn't completely escape the knife. The killing blade left a wound across her entire back. Killing and slaughtering. Qin Buyi's voice at this time sounded as scary to the Demon King as a devil coming out of hell. Laugh. The blade slashed across the abdomen of the Yao King, cutting open the entire abdomen of the Yao King, and blood spurted out instantly. The Demon King looked at the intestines flowing out of his abdomen, his heart became cruel, and he gritted his teeth and said, "Human, I remember you. One day I will cut you into pieces with 1,000 knives." You shu, thousands of miles away. The Yao King forced out the essence and blood in her heart, and the essence and blood burned. This escaping technique would severely damage her vitality, and she would not be able to use it easily unless it was a life-or-death situation. Whoosh! After performing the technique, the Demon King's speed increased dramatically, 3 times the previous speed, and his figure quickly disappeared before Qin Buyi's eyes. Qin Buyi continued to fly along the blood trail left by the Yao King like a cat playing with a mouse. A quarter of an hour later, Qin Buyi once again saw the Yao King whose speed had slowed down. The cold tone reached the ears of the Demon King. There is no need for one day, today's matter will be solved today. The Yao King looked at Qin Buyi who was getting closer and closer, and was so frightened that his soul almost flew away. How did you catch up so quickly? The Yao King was completely confused. He suppressed his fear and panic and flew forward with his head down. Brother Xiong, save me, the Demon King shouted while flying. Who? A muffled voice came from the front. A black bear, 5 meters tall and 2 meters wide, walked out of the forest. Dear, save me. The Yao King said urgently. She couldn't help but be impatient. She was chasing someone who could kill her at any time. Now that a life-saving straw appeared in front of her, she naturally had to grasp it tightly. Don't worry, don't panic while I'm here. Humans in the middle stage of Nascent Soul. The Bear Demon King said, slightly surprised, looking at Qin Buyi, who was seriously injured and had a weak aura, and Qin Buyi, who was stained with the aura of the Wolf Demon King. The Bear Demon King instantly understood what was going on. Black Bear. Could it be the Bear Demon King who has reached the state of becoming a god? The Bear Demon King who appeared in front of him learned from the probing eyes the opponent's early stage of god transformation, and Qin Buyi had already determined the opponent's identity. Listening to the name of the Bear Demon King by the Yao Demon King, Qin Buyi couldn't help but think of the dead Wolf Demon King in his mind, and thought to himself. I don't know if the dead Wolf Demon King is interested in wearing a green hat and running around on the green grassland. The Bear Demon King was very confident and wanted to stand up for the Yao Demon King. Qin Buyi once again questioned the aesthetics of the demon clan. The demon circle is so chaotic. I couldn't help but complain in my heart. Putting aside the distracting thoughts in his mind, he looked at the Yao King looking relieved. Qin Buyi said with murderous intent, with you? Even the King of Hell can't save her today. Killing and slaughtering. The speed suddenly increased, and the high-speed vibrating killing blade slashed towards the neck of the Yao King. Human, how dare you? You are seeking death. The Bear Demon King shouted angrily. Brother Xiong, help. Laugh. Before the Yao King finished speaking, the sharp blade of the killing blade swiped across the Yao King's neck. When the monster's head fell to the ground, Qin Buyi looked at the monster's head and asked doubtfully, "Are you just a social butterfly in the monster circle?" Ding. For killing the Demon King, the reward of 10 attribute points has been distributed. After all attribute points are added to the cultivation base, Qin Buyi's personal information at this time, name, Qin Buyi, Tianhuang Elementary, all attributes increased by 5.00%, cultivation, level 89 later Nascent Soul, 100/, power, 89. Speed, 89. Stamina, 89. Attack, 89. Defense, 89. Luck, 89. Killing blade level 89, 100/, attack, 89. Killing sword technique level 50, 50/, cannot break through without follow-up, attack, 50. After receiving the attribute points as a reward for killing the Yao King, Qin Buyi's cultivation level broke through to the late Nascent Soul stage. Human, you've angered me. I'm going to tear you apart. The Bear Demon King shouted angrily. Bear technique landslide and earth splitting, that the earthy yellow light condensed on the 2 bare paws of the Bear Demon King. The Bear Demon King raised his bare paws high and took a picture of Qin Buyi. Qin Buyi did not fight head-on. He held the killing blade in his hand and slashed at the falling bear's paw, then moved his body to one side following the attack power of the Bear Demon King. Boom! There was a loud noise, the Bear Demon King's 2 bare paws landed on the ground, and 2 huge pits 2 feet deep appeared on the ground. As expected of a monster in the realm of gods, this attack will probably turn it into a puddle of flesh even if the Nascent Soul is perfect. Qin Buyi looked at the huge pit on the ground and thought to himself. You actually dodged it. The Bear Demon King said in surprise. Bear technique climb the mountain, 2 bare paws were thrust into the ground. Roar, with a loud roar, the Bear Demon King pulled up a ball with a radius of 3 feet from the ground, with dirt and rocks on it. Under the influence of the Bear Demon King's power, the earth and stones on the ball quickly condensed together. Go with, the ball, which was like a small mountain, was hit hard by the Bear Demon King towards Qin Buyi. Not good, Qin Buyi shouted low, his body speed reaching the maximum at this moment, and he could barely avoid the attack of the Bear Demon King. Whoosh! The hill formed by the sphere flew past Qin Buyi's body and exploded in the distance. Boom! The whole ground was shaking. Where the ball hit, a deep pit with a radius of 10 feet was left. Qin Buyi couldn't help but feel a little headache when he saw the attack that was causing death and injury. After the battle until now, Qin Buyi saw from the Bear Demon King's offensive that its shortcoming was speed. You can't fight head-on. Only by targeting its weaknesses can you have a chance to kill it. Qin Buyi thought. Killing and slaughtering. Qin Buyi held the killing blade and launched an offensive. Bear technique landslide and earth splitting. Chong. Chong. Clang. Clang. Laugh. After dozens of rounds, the Bear Demon King shouted angrily, Human, do you only know how to hide? Qin Buyi looked at the Bear Demon King with eyes that looked like a fool, and said sarcastically, Idiot. You are courting death. The Bear Demon King was completely furious after being ridiculed by Qin Buyi. Bear technique gravel. Boom! The Bear Demon King slapped his paw on a boulder beside him, and the boulder turned into pieces of gravel under the Bear Demon King's attack. See how you escape this time. Go with, the bear's paw pushed forward, and dense gravel flew towards Qin Buyi. Kill, annihilate, the waning moon condensed by the killing blade blocked Qin Buyi's body behind him. Clang. Clang. Dang. The waning moon dispersed, and blood flowed down Qin Buyi's body. There was a big difference. Even though Qin Buyi used all his strength, there were still 3 pieces of gravel that he could not avoid. the most dangerous piece of gravel cut through Qin Buyi's temple and flew past. The other 2 pieces of gravel hit Qin Buyi's abdomen and chest, leaving 2 bloody holes in his body. Qin Buyi looked at the bleeding wound, his expression unchanged, as if he was not the one injured. "Human, keep hiding, haha." Seeing that Qin Buyi was injured, the Bear Demon King said with a hint of joy. Bear technique gravel. Seeing that the Bear Demon King was using his old tricks again, Qin Buyi did not choose to resist any more this time, but turned around and flew towards the depths of the dense forest. Whizzing! Whoosh! The high-speed burst of gravel lost its target and created deep pits in the trees and on the ground. "Human, don't run away if you can. If I catch you, I will skin you and cramp you." The Bear Demon King shouted loudly from behind and flew after Qin Buyi. The huge body seemed a bit clumsy at this moment. After chasing him for a while, he could only watch Qin Buyi disappear before his eyes. "Damn human! Don't let me meet you again." The Bear Demon King stopped where he was and cursed loudly in the direction where Qin Buyi was flying. After a while, the Bear Demon King turned around and flew towards his territory, en route. Killing and slaughtering. A blade emitting cold light and carrying endless killing intent appeared silently behind the Bear Demon King. A sense of crisis came from behind. The Bear Demon King never thought that Qin Buyi would dare to come back. The Bear Demon King, who was already somewhat relaxed, had no time to defend himself. Laugh! The sharp blade scratched the bear's back, leaving a wound deep enough to show the bone. The Bear Demon King was in pain and roared, seeking death. When it turned around, there was no trace of a human being behind it. Unable to find Qin Buyi, after roaring for a while, the Bear Demon King flew towards the territory cautiously. Kill, annihilate. The sense of crisis came from behind again, and the Bear Demon King roared, "Damn, come again, can you only do sneak attacks?" The waning moon enveloped the entire body of the Bear Demon King, and the prepared Bear Demon King was not injured this time, but after the waning moon passed, the originally shiny and smooth fur looked as if it had been gnawed by a dog. Although Qin Buyi's attack did not injure the Bear Demon King, it cut the Demon Clan's fur, which the Demon Clan had always valued, to pieces with a knife. It can be said that it is not very harmful, but extremely insulting. He turned around and saw Qin Buyi looking at his body from a distance, seemingly admiring his masterpiece. The Bear Demon King was completely furious, his eyes were red and he shouted, "Ah! Human, I want you to die. I want to kill you." He chased Qin Buyi, his speed even faster than before. After a chase, the Bear Demon King could only watch helplessly as Qin Buyi disappeared from his sight. "Ah! Hateful! Hateful!" The Bear Demon King's bare paw angrily slapped the tree beside him. Boom! The big tree, which only 3 people could hug together, collapsed in the anger of the Bear Demon King. After venting his anger against the trees for a long time, the Bear Demon King set off again and flew towards his territory. This time, the Bear Demon King learned the lesson and wanted to turn back 3 times in one step and fly slowly towards the territory. The Bear Demon King was not attacked along the way, which made it mutter in its heart, "Did this cunning human give up?" Of course, Qin Buyi would not give up. Looking at the cautious look of the Demon Bear King, attacking from behind would have no effect, so Qin Buyi took a step ahead of the Bear Demon King and dug a pit large enough for him to cover the pit on the only way near the Bear Demon King's territory. Keep your breath to a minimum and wait. The Bear Demon King appeared in his sight, getting closer and closer to his attack range, and he counted silently in his heart. 3, 2, 1. At this time, the Bear Demon King was still like a frightened bird. He turned around and looked behind him cautiously, never expecting that Qin Buyi would launch an attack from underground. Killing and slaughtering. Qin Buyi kicked the ground with both feet and shot towards the Bear Demon King like an arrow from a string. The whole body's power was concentrated on the killing blade, and the blade slashed at the Bear Demon King from bottom to top. Laugh. Chapter 18 Kill the Transformation God. You are listening at novelfull.audio. The Bear Demon King never thought that Qin Buyi would launch an attack from underground. Qin Buyi's attack was too fast and fierce, and it had no time to make any defensive preparations. the blade pierced the Bear Demon King's abdomen, and Qin Buyi held the killing blade with his wrist and used all his strength to lift it upwards. Not like a rag being torn apart, the Bear Demon King's entire abdomen was cut open, blood flowed out of the Bear Demon King's body like a fountain, and the seriously injured Bear Demon King became ferocious. One bear's paw firmly grasped the killing blade pierced into the body, and the other bear's paw slapped Qin Buyi's head. Bear technique: skull crushing. The bear's paw quickly grew in size like a balloon. Not good. Qin Buyi's pupils shrank. If he wanted to avoid getting hurt at this moment, he had to give up the killing blade in his hand, but giving up the killing blade and losing the weapon is tantamount to declaring mission failure in advance. Even if you avoid this fatal blow, you will no longer be able to pose any threat to the Bear Demon King. Killing and slaughtering. Qin Buyi looked at the Bear Demon King crazily with murderous intent in his eyes, and said, "Let's see who dies first." Using all his strength, Seaside Blade tried to break free from the bear's paws. The blade slashed across, and half of the bear's paw fell to the ground. Ah! The Bear Demon King was in pain, and his attack on Qin Buyi couldn't help but speed up a bit in the air. Kill, annihilate. The waning moon formed in the Bear Demon King's body, enveloping all the Bear Demon King's internal organs. Looking at the attack of the Bear Demon King in front of him, Qin Buyi gritted his teeth and shouted, "Behead! Hey! Hey! Laugh!" The waning moon was like a meat grinder, grinding the internal organs of the Bear Demon King to pieces. Roar! At the last moment, the Demon Bear King's attack also landed on Qin Buyi's chest. Boom! Qin Buyi had no time to block and withstood the fatal blow from the Demon Bear King. Boom! The huge force fell on him, and Qin Buyi was knocked back dozens of meters before he hit a tree before stopping. Cough! Standing up unsteadily from the ground with the killing blade, Qin Buyi spat out a large mouthful of blood, which was mixed with large pieces of internal organs. His chest had completely sunk in, and there were bursts of severe pain as if the internal organs were being displaced. Qin Buyi looked at the Demon Bear King lying motionless on the ground in the distance, but did not let down his guard. He didn't hear the system prompt just now, which meant that the Bear Demon King was still alive and was just pretending to be dead. On the ground away from the Bear Demon King's attack, Qin Buyi waited patiently. 1 day passed, the Bear Demon King did not move as if he was dead. Qin Buyi took care of his injuries and did not step forward. 2 days passed. There were less than 24 hours left before the mission deadline. Qin Buyi was not in a hurry and was still waiting patiently. When there was only the last hour before the mission deadline, a system prompt finally came to my ears. Ding! Killing the Bear Demon King will reward you with 10 attribute points and a 4th level teleportation talisman. Ha! Qin Buyi exhaled a long breath. After adding attribute points to his cultivation, Qin Buyi stepped forward and turned over the body of the Bear Demon King with both hands. The Bear Demon King's body was empty, and his internal organs had long been shattered by Qin Buyi's attack. Laugh! The killing blade broke open the Bear Demon King's head, and Qin Buyi found a bright bead inside the head. This is a demon elixir that demon beasts can only condense in the realm of divine transformation. The reason why the Bear Demon King can survive for 2 days after its internal organs were smashed is inseparable from this demon elixir. Put the demon pill into the system storage space, take out the star-fixing compass, stand up and fly along with the compass pointing. On the way, Qin Buyi opened the personal information panel. Name, Qin Buyi, Tianhuang Elementary, all attributes increased by 5.00%, cultivation, level 99. Later Nascent Soul, 100/- power, 99. Speed, 99. Stamina, 99. Attack, 99. Defense, 99. Luck, 99. Killing blade level 99, 100/- attack, 99. Killing sword technique level 50, 50/- cannot break through without follow-up, attack, 50. Seeing that he was almost able to break through to the 4th level, Qin Buyi had a bad premonition in his heart. Based on his understanding of the system, whenever he breaks through in cultivation or is almost there, a surprise will always be arranged for him. However, Qin Buyi is not too worried. At this time, with the increase of the primary Tianhuang body, all his attributes have already entered the realm of transformation. the injuries sustained in the battle with the Bear Demon King are gradually recovering, as long as he doesn't encounter the giant fox demon emperor whose realm exceeds that of a god. Qin Buyi thinks he won't have much trouble in the Luoxing Mountains. Thinking that the giant fox demon king has not appeared for hundreds of years, his luck should not be that bad. Qin Buyi couldn't hold back his excitement when he thought that after finding the Star Core, the reward for completing the epic mission included returning to Blue Star. After coming to this different world, I encountered life and death crises several times. I still remember that when I first came here, I was still an ordinary person, and now I am about to break through to the 4th level, and there is still something to do after returning to Blue Star. Thinking of this, Qin Buyi's eyes revealed murderous intent. Is it here? Qin Buyi whispered as he looked at the extremely dark cave that was about 1 foot wide and bottomless. Qin Buyi followed the point of the fixed star compass and flew for about a quarter of an hour. The pointer of the fixed star compass stopped moving at this point. Withdrawing the fixed star compass, Qin Buyi grasped the killing blade and flew cautiously towards the bottom of the cave. It was pitch black inside the cave, but this was not a hindrance to Qin Buyi. Once he had broken through to the Golden Core realm, he could already see things at night. Now that he had reached the Nascent Soul realm, it was no longer a problem. The cave is narrow at the top and wide at the bottom, and becomes wider toward the bottom. 2/4 of an hour later, we finally arrived at the bottom of the cave. Qin Buyi looked up at the top of the cave, mentally calculating the distance from the top to the bottom. At such a high distance, apart from those in the Nascent Soul realm who can initially fly, those in the Golden Core realm may also fall into pieces if they fall accidentally. The cave floor is extremely wide, about the size of 6 or 7 football fields. The place where Qin Buyi fell was an underground river, and strange fish with blue light all over their bodies could be seen in the river. The underground river looks calm on the surface, but has surging undercurrents inside. Qin Buyi took a few glances at this underground wonder and stopped paying attention. Fly away from the river and search underground. Soon Qin Buyi saw a ball floating in mid-air in the north underground, the size of a basketball and emitting light. From the exploration eye, he learned that this was exactly the star core he was looking for. Qin Buyi flew over, but before he could get close to the star core, a charming female voice came to his ears. "Young hero, help me." Qin Buyi lowered his head and looked under the star core. A woman with good looks was looking at her pitifully. The clothes are half off, revealing the snow-white chest, round hips, slender thighs, and small feet like white jade with no place to rest. "I accidentally fell into this cave. It's so dark here. I'm so scared, young hero, can you take me home?" The red lips like flames opened slightly, and she said to Qin Buyi with a charming look on her face. "Zheng." The killing blade made a sound. Qin Buyi, who was a little distracted, woke up and broke into a cold sweat. Deep in the pitch-black underground, a woman with a seductive posture appeared in front of him. If he had gone down just now, he would definitely be in bad luck. "Who are you?" Qin Buyi said in a cold tone. The woman glanced at the killing blade. If the broken blade hadn't messed up at the critical moment, the human in front of her might have fallen into his hands. Seeing that the charm was useless, the woman stopped pretending. She changed her pitiful expression and said, "Me? I'm just a poor person who has been trapped here for 300 years. The probing I cannot see through the woman's cultivation, and is looking at the woman's aura that exceeds the spirit transformation realm and the information revealed in her words." An inference that made Qin Buyi want to curse, but had to face it, emerged in his mind. Qin Buyi asked, "Are you the giant fox demon emperor?" I didn't expect that there were still humans who knew about me in the past 300 years. Giant fox demon emperor. What an unpleasant name. My name is Qin Qian. Qin Qian said with a little surprise and a little disgust in her tone. Hearing the woman admit her identity, Qin Buyi's calm mind couldn't help but stir up waves. He quickly deduced the current situation in his mind. According to legend, the giant fox demon king disappeared for so long because he was trapped. Seeing Qin Qian's friendly expression towards him, Qin Buyi speculated that she was trapped and unable to cause harm to him. Otherwise, Qin Buyi would not believe it if a demon emperor who had transcended the realm of divine transformation had such a good attitude toward him, who was not even in the realm of divine transformation. Chapter 19 Qin Qian, Demon King. You are listening at Mtlnovel Aud. After learning that the giant fox demon emperor could not harm him for the time being, Qin Buyi ignored her. He looked away from Qing Qian and looked at the glowing star core. Hey! Human, why don't you speak? Qing Qian saw that Qin Buyi was more interested in Xinghe than her, so she said with a slightly dissatisfied tone. Qin Buyi came to the star core, stretched out his hand to grab the star core, and exerted force with both hands. The star core did not move at all, and star power emerged, one end connected to the star core, and the other end connected to Qing Qian's body below. This is going to be difficult. Qin Buyi thought to himself when he saw this scene. Qing Qian is trapped here, it's obviously Xinghe's fault. Qin Buyi frowned. There were two problems before him, one is how to take away the star core, and the other is how to leave alive in front of Qing Qian, the demon king. After taking away the star core, Qin Buyi looked at the fourth-level teleportation talisman in the storage space, and suddenly knew how to leave. Introduction to the fourth-level teleportation talisman. Randomly select a direction and can reach, miles away in an instant. Qing Qian looked at Qin Buyi's frown, covered her mouth and started laughing. Human, if this works, I won't be trapped here by this damn thing for 300 years. But after 300 years of research, this thing is not impossible to take away. It's just that this method requires your help. Qing Qian said. Qin Buyi wondered, your cultivation level is far higher than mine, how come you need my help? Qing Qian looked at the star core above and said in a calm and helpless voice, this method needs to be implemented in the outside world. As you can see, I am trapped here and cannot move at all. What method did you say? Qin Buyi asked with a wary look. Stay close to me and don't always look so guarded. I don't eat people. With a hint of dissatisfaction in her expression, Qing Qian took out a red handkerchief from her arms and said, I have a treasure here that can help you take away the star core. After a pause, Qing Qian continued, however, my current cultivation is limited by this star core, so you have to come down and get it yourself. Qin Buyi did not move. He remained silent for a long time and said firmly, you are lying to me. After being exposed by Qin Buyi in person, Qing Qian smiled without any embarrassment and said, hee, how did you figure it out? The majestic demon king, even if his cultivation is restricted, it will not reach the point where he can't even control objects. Qin Buyi said with a cold expression, from the very beginning when he met the giant fox demon emperor, he had one purpose, and that was to get him down. Looking at the star power connected between the star core and the giant fox demon emperor, Qin Buyi instantly understood why the giant fox demon emperor wanted him to go down so eagerly. The giant fox demon king has been unable to charm you since the beginning, but now he is still trying to trick me into going down. I'm afraid the purpose is to let me replace you, right? Why can't I understand what you are talking about? Qing Qian's eyes flickered when she heard Qin Buyi's words, and she said without changing her expression. Do you really not understand? If my prediction is correct, this star core may be treating you as nutrients and constantly absorbing the energy in your body. The reason why you want me to go down is very simple. You just want me to replace you and become the nutrient of the star core. Then you seize the opportunity to leave. It's a good method and a good strategy. Qing Qian's expression finally changed as she watched Qin Buyi express exactly what she was thinking. What a smart human being, I really think so. Why don't you do this? I have a lot of treasures and spiritual stones here. As long as you come down, these things will be yours. Not only that, if you want, I can also be yours, and I guarantee that your life will not be in any danger. Qing Qian said calmly. Qin Buyi did not leave. Go down. How is it possible that even the demon emperor who has surpassed the divine transformation realm has been sucked into the star core and bargained with the nascent soul realm? If he goes down, if nothing happens, he will be sucked dry in a few breaths and die. Seeing that Qin Buyi was still unmoved, Qing Qian tore off her always friendly mask and said cruelly with murderous intent in her eyes. Humans, don't toast and eat as punishment. I have carved the aura on your body. One day when I leave this place, I will definitely skin you and remove your bones. As long as you come down now, the treasures and spiritual stones on my body will still be yours. If not, Before Qin Qian finished speaking, Qin Buyi interrupted him with a cold expression, "Too much nonsense, noisy. Human, you are, looking for death." Qin Qian was irritated by Qin Buyi. She was only in the Nascent Soul realm. When she was not trapped here, she was not even qualified to carry her shoes. Now he dared to treat her like this. Roar! After a roar, a giant fox with 9 tails and a white body appeared on the ground. The giant fox looked at Qin Buyi with bloodthirsty and cruel eyes. Qin Buyi looked at Qin Qian with interest from the sky, and said in a neutral tone, "So this is your true body. This fur hat will definitely be very warm." After saying that, he looked towards the star core and no longer paid attention to Qin Qian. Qin Qian stared at Qin Buyi on the ground. If eyes could kill, Qin Buyi would have died many times at this moment. Since the conventional methods are useless, let's try this. Qin Buyi thought for a long time and thought to himself. Chong! The killing blade was unsheathed and struck hard at the core. Boom! After the blade collided with the star core, a loud noise was heard in the underground cave. After retracting the knife and looking at the star core without leaving any trace, Qin Buyi breathed a sigh of relief. Originally, he was afraid of breaking the star core, but now it seems that the star core is harder than he thought. Human, what are you going to do? Qin Qian said in a panicked tone. Qin Buyi's behavior just now shocked her. If the energy contained in this star core was exploded, not only would she and Qin Buyi not be able to survive, but most of the entire Luoxing mountain range would also be destroyed. Qin Buyi seemed to have turned a deaf ear to Qin Qian's words below. Killing and slaughtering, condensing the whole body's strength on the high-speed vibrating killing blade, the killing blade aimed at the star core and slashed again. Boom! The loud sound from this slash was several times stronger than the first slash. Not only that, a huge countershock force came from the star core, and Qin Buyi was knocked back several meters in the air before he could stop his retreat. Human, are you crazy? This thing is going to explode, and both you and I will be dead. Qin Qian said urgently from below. The reason why he was so anxious was that he was worried that the star core would explode. On the other hand, Qin Buyi slashed with 2 swords. In order to protect herself, the star power linked to her body obviously accelerated the speed of extracting power from her body. Although the consumption of these 2 swords on her was minimal, the lingering sense of crisis in her heart made her very uneasy. Kill, annihilate, the killing blade formed a waning moon, enveloping the star core. Clang! 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 Waning Yu's intensive offensive dissipated, but the star core remained the same as before, not moving at all. Killing and slaughtering. Boom! Kill, annihilate. Clang! Clang! Slaughter! Execute. In just half an hour, Qin Buyi launched thousands of attacks on the star core with the killing blade in his hand. It wasn't until he was exhausted that he stopped attacking and rested on the spot to recover. Damn human, this madman. If I can get out of here, I will kill him. Qin Qian looked at Qin Buyi and cursed in her heart. Qin Buyi attacked thousands of times, and Xinghe continued to draw strength from her, thinking that Qin Buyi's attack fell on her indirectly. The most uncomfortable thing was that she could only passively bear it and could not take the initiative to fight back. Moreover, these thousands of attacks accumulated, although the consumption on her was not large. It was enough to attract her attention. A quarter of an hour later, Qin Buyi regained his strength, stood up, and started the second round of offensive. Killing and slaughtering. Chong! Kill, annihilate. Dang! Dang! Execute. Slaughter. Half an hour later, his physical strength was almost exhausted, and Qin Buyi's offensive stopped again. Human, it's useless. Your attacks are in vain. Give up. Qin Qian suppressed the anger in her heart and persuaded her with a smile that was no better than crying. Qin Buyi looked at Qin Qian curiously and asked, "What I do is my business, what does it have to do with you?" Qin Qian turned his head and stopped talking. If the human in front of him knew that attacking the star core was also consuming himself, the consequences would be unimaginable. The day passed quickly, and Qin Buyi launched tens of thousands of attacks on the Star Corps that day. It was difficult to tell the difference between day and night in the underground cave. Qin Buyi relied on his senses to judge that it should be night. The body flew towards the top of the cave, and soon disappeared from Qin Qian's eyes. "Leave now, leave. Give up." Qin Qian watched Qin Buyi leave, feeling a little disappointed. Qin Buyi is the first human being she has seen in hundreds of years since she was trapped here. Although his heart was filled with murderous intent towards this human being, when he thought about how long he would have to stay alone after Qin Buyi left, his heart inevitably fluctuated. Chapter 20 Star Core Shattered. You are listening at Audio. Has Qin Buyi given up? How is it possible? Not to mention that the mission deadline is less than 3 months away, and his character is not one to give up. Flying above the cave and looking at the moon in the sky, as expected. It was night. I found a wild boar near the cave and picked up some firewood and spices I recognized on the ground, drag the wild boar and fly down to the cave again, go to the bottom of the cave and light the firewood. The warm firelight shines on this underground cave that has never seen light since its formation. Drag the wild boar to the underground river, remove the internal organs of the wild boar and put them aside, pluck the wild boar and wash it. Qin Buyi passed the cleaned wild boar through a thick and long branch and flipped it back and forth over the fire. He turned around and returned to the underground river, throwing the disemboweled wild boar guts into the river. Suddenly, the strange fish smelling blood in the river rushed toward the internal organs. Qin Buyi seized the opportunity with the killing blade in his hand. Laugh. Laugh. After stabbing it with 2 knives, when he withdrew the killing blade again, there were 2 strange fish nearly 1 meter long hanging on it. After peeling off the fish scales and removing the internal organs, Qin Buyi threaded the 2 strange fish through the branches and grilled them over the fire. Tick. The fat on the wild boar and strange fish has been roasted by the fire and drips continuously on the firewood pile, and from time to time a large ball of flame will appear. Qin Buyi sprinkled the wild spices picked from the Luoxing mountains, and the fragrance suddenly filled the air. The entire underground cave was filled with the smell of meat. After breaking through to the Nascent Soul, you can basically stop eating and rely on the spiritual energy between heaven and earth to survive. However, Qin Buyi has insisted on eating habits for more than 20 years and cannot completely change it for a while. The aroma also floated into Qin Qian's nose, and saliva immediately appeared in Qin Qian's mouth. She swallowed her saliva and stared at the grilled fish on the fire. Since being trapped here, she has not eaten food for 300 years. At this moment, when I smell the aroma of meat, the gluttons in my stomach are churning, just like a person who is about to die of thirst in the desert longs for water. A quarter of an hour later, the meat was roasted. Qin Buyi tore off a wild boar's hind leg and was about to bite it when a clear and probing voice came to his ears. "Human, look, there's so much food that you can't even eat by yourself. Can you share some with me?" Hearing this, Qin Buyi looked at Qin Qian with a strange expression and stretched out his right hand. "What do you mean?" Qin Qian asked, confused. "Give me money. If you don't have money, you can exchange for something," Qin Buyi said calmly. Do you know how to show mercy to women? How dare you ask me for money for such a small thing?" Qin Qian had turned back into a human body and looked at Qin Buyi, her eyes red, as if she was about to shed tears at any time. Qin Buyi was not moved at all, and said in a cold tone, "I will never have any illusions about a guy who wants to skin me and peel me off." After saying that, he opened his mouth and took a big bite on the pig leg. Not only that, Qin Buyi also deliberately looked like he was intoxicated with delicious food. Qin Qian saw Qin Buyi's behavior of not letting go of the hawk before seeing the rabbit. She secretly bit her silver teeth and took out the red handkerchief again, making a show of handing it to Qin Buyi. Qin Buyi glanced at the red handkerchief and said, "I don't want this, I want the pendant around your neck." "Impossible." Qin Qian refused. "It doesn't matter if it's impossible, then you continue to watch and I will continue to eat." Qin Buyi said, "The reason for not exchanging is very simple. The pendant around Qin Qian's neck is much better than the red handkerchief she took out, both in terms of quality and appearance. Moreover, things that can be easily taken out and exchanged must be the things with the lowest value." Qin Qian watched Qin Buyi feasting not far away. After a while, she couldn't bear it anymore and said again, "You can change it to another one. This one really won't work. This is what my mother left for me." Qin Buyi didn't even raise his head and said, "No change, no discussion," that perhaps it was because of the gluttons in her stomach that kept surging. After thinking for a long time, Qin Qian took off the pendant with an unsightly expression, and used her spiritual power to hold the pendant before Qin Buyi's eyes. Qin Buyi took the pendant and played with it in his hand. The pendant was engraved with a snow-white nine-tailed fox, which was almost exactly the same as Qin Qian's body. "Hey, collect your things and give me the food," Qin Qian said with a hint of anger in her tone. After collecting the people's things, Qin Buyi quickly put most of the wild boar and a strange fish with only one hind leg torn off and placed them on Qin Qian's spiritual energy. Qin Qian used her spiritual power to pull the wild boar and strange fish back to her, and regardless of the image, she took a bite of the roasted pig. While eating, he said vaguely, "It tastes pretty good." "What's your name, human?" Qin Buyi said nothing and stretched out his right hand again. "No way. Even this requires money. Are you obsessed with money?" Qin Qian said with disbelief on her face. Perhaps realizing that his behavior was inappropriate, Qin Buyi spat out 3 words, "Qin Buyi." "Huh, Qin Buyi, what a strange name, Buyi, are you difficult?" Qin Qian burst out laughing after hearing it. Not forgetting to laugh a few words, looking at Qin Qian like a fool, Qin Buyi began to lower his head and eat silently. No matter what Qin Qian said, he stopped talking. Seeing that Qin Buyi no longer paid attention to her, Qin Qian did not ask for trouble and concentrated on enjoying the food in front of her. A quarter of an hour later, Qin Buyi had eaten and drank enough, cleaned up the residue on the ground, held the killing blade and flew up again, slashing towards the star core. Killing and slaughtering. Boom. Kill, annihilate. Clang. Clang. Again. Doesn't this guy need a rest? That there was a loud sound in her ears, and the strength in her body was being absorbed faster. Qin Qian suddenly felt that the meat in her mouth no longer tasted good. Shaking her head and ignoring Qin Buyi who was attacking crazily in the sky, Qin Qian took a hard bite of meat and chewed it viciously. It was as if he was eating Qin Buyi's flesh and blood to relieve his anger. The days go by. During this period, Qin Buyi would fly above the cave every day on average to find various foods, such as deer, rabbits, sheep, etc., and occasionally pick some wild fruits. Qin Qian found that since the human being appeared in front of her, her life seemed to be getting better and better, especially in terms of food, but correspondingly, the wallet is getting thinner and thinner, and there are not many valuable things left on the body. There is no other way. If you want to eat, you have to give money. If you don't give money, it's useless to say anything. Looking at Qin Buyi who was constantly attacking the star core in the sky, Qin Qian couldn't help but said, "Qin Buyi, you blackmail a weak woman with food all day long, don't you feel guilty in your heart?" Qin Buyi stopped attacking and said seriously, "First of all, you are not weak. If you were not trapped here, I am afraid you could kill me with one finger. Secondly, I forced you to eat." Qin Buyi choked on 2 words and became speechless. Qin Qian turned her head and stopped talking. She said in her heart, "Don't let me out. If you let me out, I will make sure that you can live or die." A month later, under Qin Buyi's tens of thousands of crazy attacks every day, the star core began to shake for the first time. Although it is only a slight shaking, it is enough to inspire people. Within this month, Qingxian's whole fox was in bad shape, but she could still hold on. A few days ago, as time goes by, the strength in the body continues to flow outward every day, gradually reaching a state of loss. The spiritual energy drawn from nature could not keep up with the speed of consumption. Seeing the star core shaking, Qin Qian's heart thumped. She didn't know what would happen if Qin Buyi continued to attack, but she couldn't let the human in front of her know that the star core was absorbing her power. Based on her inference about Qin Buyi these days, if he knew about it, he would probably attack even more crazily. More than 2 months later, under Qin Buyi's simple and crude offensive every day, Xinghe couldn't bear it for the first time. Crack! A crack appeared on the surface of the star core. After the clicking sound appeared, Qin Buyi stopped his offensive and looked at the star core. Qian said in a somewhat forceful tone below, stop it quickly. If it continues like this, it may explode. By then, both you and I will be dead. Over the past 2 months, the spiritual energy in Qian's body has been consumed to the point of near exhaustion. Qin Buyi stood in front of the star core and thought. There were still 3 days before the deadline for the epic mission. By then, if the mission is not completed, there is still no way to escape the fate of being obliterated, so it is better to give it a try. Thinking of this, he held the killing blade and continued to attack. Killing and slaughtering. Kill, annihilate. Boom. Clang. Qin Buyi, you're crazy, you lunatic. Don't drag me with you if you want to die. Qian shouted anxiously from below. Crack. Crack, but with the attack, there are more and more cracks on the star core, and the destructive energy contained in the star core can be felt through the cracks. Qian looked at Qin Buyi above with dull eyes. She no longer had any hope of survival. She would wait until the madman in front of her chopped up the star core and blew it up, and everyone would die together. Killing and slaughtering. Behead. Qin Buyi shouted. Crack. Boom, the star core, which had not left the same place for more than 2 months, finally moved to the side when it was about to break. At the same time, the star power linked to Qian also disappeared. Qin Buyi and Qian looked at Xinghe at the same time, and Qian's somewhat dull eyes recovered instantly. Before Qian could react, Qin Buyi grabbed the star core, put it in the storage space, and used the 4th-level teleportation talisman to leave. Boom! Almost the next second after Qin Buyi left, Qian's offensive arrived. With one blow, the entire underground cave collapsed. Whoosh! A few Qing breathing appeared in the falling star mountains. Qin Buyi, a small nascent soul realm, actually dared to play with me for more than 2 months, using a bunch of worthless beast meat in exchange for many of my treasures. You deserve to die. Qian's eyes were filled with cold murderous intent, and a winter-like sound echoed in the Luo Xing mountains.